Hello, everyone. This is my fourth reflection post for Info 267 International Children's Literature. And to answer the prompt, I will say I don't think my idea of what childhood, adolescence, and youth is has changed all that much because I think by its very nature, it's socially and culturally dependent. What I see for youth as a young person in modern American culture is not the same as what is seen in other cultures, and that's okay. Um, I see even more the link between books and games, but also see how, because of the pervasive influence from the United States and the United Kingdom, how it's problematic. It has an impact on how people from other cultures see themselves. I'm glad that a lot of countries are trying to figure out how to fight off that influence and start trying to push for more literature that speaks to their cultural identity. But we still have a long way to go. Um, I have to admit, I was really excited for this week to hear about Chinese youth literature. I really enjoyed reading the paper when Paper Puppy Meets Me Beijing Doll. One of my favorite novels is one that was recently translated into English from Chinese. It's an adult novel, but I was curious to know about what state sanctioned literature looks like for youth in China. And I found that there was kind of a universality to the discussions on female teen sexuality in both of those books, in both Paper Puppy and Beijing Doll. Um, and the discussion around them reminded me very heavily of the discussions happening around book bannings right now in the United States, which includes wanting to ban books of LGBTQ and central sexual content, among others. It just feels like there will always be an ongoing discussion around what people think is appropriate for children. Um, the other group that I am particularly interested in, and I think might even do my curated collection assignment on, is India. I love that there is a push with indie publishing houses to get more youth literature out there that goes beyond Western ideas and culture. I also, due to some quick Google searches, discovered that immigrants of Indian descent make up the second largest immigrant group in the United States. And I've noticed through observations in my own library district that there seems to be a significant population of Indian descended people. And it's one that's not reflected in the collections that we carry in my district. So, following the advice to use a real world example, I think I'm going to work to focus on getting Indian youth literature into my library district. Um, for the last question on if I had a magic wand, what would I change and why? I'm gonna have to go on one of my soapboxes that most of my coworkers have heard. But if I had a magic wand to change something about youth literature where I work, it would have to be books that are published and marketed for the tween group, so 10 to 13-year-olds. Currently in my library, we have JF, which is juvenile fiction, that is targeted for early chapter books, so when they're first starting to read, through middle grade, which actually means fifth graders, so it's age 10 to 11. Um, but if you have a high level reader of elementary school age, or you have a middle schooler who's ready for more challenging content, the next place to go is what my library calls YF or YA, youth fiction or young adult, which basically caters the age range is 12 to 19-year-olds. And that's a pretty big difference. Like there's a big difference between what a 12-year-old might find appealing and what a 19-year-old might find appealing. I personally think we need more books that fall in between with a higher level of reading, but content that can appeal to younger group. I also wish that YF wasn't so focused on speculative fiction, which is probably one of the strangest things that ever came out of my mouth because I love speculative fiction. But honestly, for readers that prefer more realistic fiction that don't necessarily want romance, there's not a lot out there for that. Um, and I think there should be more. I've been glad about the push towards more diversity in YF, as well as adding more historical fiction, but I think we could have more. I don't know why sports stories seem to stop with JF. But I can see the appeal for them for older teens, so I don't know why they don't exist. Uh, a few years ago, I had a teen patron come in trying to find fictional books about motorcycles. The only books I could find that my library district carried were motorcycle club erotic novels for adults, which was not even remotely what he was looking for. So I think there is a place for that. I think we need some more, not just diversity, which is great that, more diversity, more hashtag own voices are showing up in YF. But I think we need some more um diversity in genres in YF. So yeah, thank you.